Beautiful, beautiful. One of the other things I told the children this morning was I'd always wished I could sing like that. They had been listening to the musicians or do art or whatever, but we each have a gift, and that's what I hope and pray for them, that they will find their gift, whatever it is, even if it's a street sweeper, to do it with all the heart, right? And to know that we're doing our best. I've told times when we first moved to Bay St. Louis, it was such a mess. It was right after the storm. And I didn't know what to do with myself, so I just finally contented myself with taking a plastic bag and walking along and picking up trash that I could and picking up aluminum cans. And I even had men saving their beer cans for me. I'd go by and pick them up, but it was something I could do. And if you ever find yourself in that point of desperation where you don't know what to do next, do some little thing, just some little thing, and the next will come to you. But what I'm talking about this morning is inspiration and motivation. I think that there's a totally different feel when we talk about inspire or imagine, and we've heard a lot about imagine this morning, and thank you, musicians, for each one of those. Beautiful. Imagine and imagination and vision. And close your eyes for a moment, and I want you to see how you feel with these words that I'm going to give to you. Imagine and imagination. Dream. How does that word feel to you? Dream. Inspiration. Motivation. That word has a totally different feel to it, doesn't it? Motivation. Achievement. Love. Honor. Okay, you get my point. So this morning I'm going to talk a little bit about the difference in those words and what they can do for us. And in a dream state, we can feel just all good, flowing. We let everything go, don't we? No responsibility to that. That feels good. But unfortunately, in our waking lives, and as we go through our lives, we can't always have that feeling, can we? We must at some point feel motivated, and sometimes we must kick ourselves in our own derriere to get ourselves motivated and going, don't we? If we stayed in that dream state all the time, we couldn't actually accomplish what we need to accomplish. So here we are on July 4th, and it's on a Sunday. I don't remember how many years it has been since we had a July 4th on a Sunday, but some of you could tell me how that works and why and when that was, but I just don't remember at the moment when that was, but it's quite interesting. So we'll have fireworks on Sunday night. This is a special day. All those words I mentioned earlier, hope, faith, comfort, joy, healing. I hope that you can feel that, and I hope that you can feel that because you feel your own independence and you're able to do that. I said in the newsletter that we remember, especially on days like today, those that have gone before us and made our freedom possible. And Patrick Henry, I believe it was, that said, "Give me freedom or give me death." And we take those words to heart because freedom is important, isn't it? And if we cannot have freedom from our limiting thoughts, the things that bind us, then we don't really have freedom, do we? We really don't. We're bound by what someone else thinks we should think, how we think we should look to the world, what someone else thinks we should be doing, or what the world tells us we should be doing. And only thing we need to be bound by is what our heart tells us that we should do. What brings joy. I suspect that there are those of us in this congregation that they go to work on Monday and they can't wait to get there. They love what they do. I had someone tell me this morning that she loves her job and she loves what she does. And you know what? I love hearing that because I know that most of us, if we're going to spend a career doing it, we need to love it, whether we're in the medical field or the whatever it is that we're doing. We need to love it. My husband spent a career working in the computer science industry, but he always had a love. He grew up on a big farm in Indiana, and he had a love of old equipment. And he had a huge collection of huge old Caterpillars. Most of you won't know what I'm talking about, but he had like a 1910 Holt 10-ton, they called it. It was then became Caterpillar. You won't have a clue what I'm talking about, and I wouldn't have if I hadn't seen them in person and gone with him with his trailer to pick some of them up. But someone convinced him a few years ago, we won't say who, but that maybe he should not keep adding to that collection. He had too many, and he's taking them to the shows there at Portland, Indiana, and it's so much work getting them on the trailer and off the trailer. And somebody, as I said, we won't mention who, said to him, Dan, you really ought to get rid of some of that stuff, but he enjoyed it, and he did have a big sale at an auction. He sold those really big ones, but you know what? He's already buying more. And it's okay, and you know what? If that's what he wants to do, and he can afford it, and he can do it physically, and it gives him great joy. So I'm glad to see him doing that. And but he's, as a matter of fact, he bought another one he's going to pick up around Nashville sometime this summer, and I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him. And declaring his own independence from what this other person thinks. When she's encouraging him, you need to slow down a little bit. We need to listen to ourselves, don't we? We do. Dan, stand up so everybody can see you. He's up there. There he is. He's here today. He had a little surgery 2.5 weeks ago, and he's been slowly getting over that. But he is, as he's always gotten over everything, even his spouse's advice for what he does with his life. But we're so thankful. We're so thankful for the people that came before us. And as I said earlier, desperation isn't a good thing normally, but sometimes it's in desperation that good things have been born. For instance, the founders of this country, it was in desperation that they said, we're not living like this. And you know what? I'd rather die than live like this. And so that's what desperation can do for us sometimes, is we'll say, gee whiz, this old way of living and the boundaries and this, that, and the other has bound me to the point that I am not alive spiritually. I'm going to cut those ropes set myself free, and I'm going to come alive. Even if it means buying big old 10-ton tractors, if that's what makes you feel alive, if that's what you want to do, go for it. Life is short. So out of desperation, a lot of good has come. We think about the original Martin Luther that nailed the treatises to the church door. And he said, we're not selling salvation anymore, folks, or I'm not. And he knew what the consequences would be for him personally when he did that, because you talk about not living in a free society. That was one where the church and the royalty ruled. And the Magna Carta, the people that said, no, the people need to rule themselves. We don't need some king up somewhere telling us what to do. And the people that came to this country, and we're thankful for them. We give thanks for that. The men and the women, all of them. So on July 4th, we say thanks for our independence and whatever desperation that came to create that. Because it did create some good, a lot of good. And we have been a reflection to the world. Sometimes it may not look like it. It may not look like it, but change comes slowly, sometimes, especially in a global way. It doesn't come overnight. So sometimes we need to exercise our patience as Gandhi did. We exercise patience. So just imagine yourself visualizing the life you want. In Unity, there's long been a practice called visualizing. Several years ago, someone implemented a vision board, and that's something, it's a practice that a lot of people practice. I don't know if any of you have done that yourself. There's some sort of special power that comes with not only visualizing what you want, but putting it into words. Put it into words. And so if you can write it down, if you can visualize it, write it down. If you like vision boards, go with that. If you like keeping a journal, go with that. But somehow you need to make a practice. If you can do it daily, and we don't say that you need to meditate for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30, whatever. If you can have a moment of silence in the morning where you go within and let the outer noise go away. Just shoo it away. All the noise and the distractions. And if you live in a place where there is only noise and distractions, then go outside and have a moment of peace and quiet where you can commune with a higher power, the divine, nature, and just listen. And if you say nothing more every morning than, Spirit, I'm open, I'm willing, show me the way. Show me the way. I'm open, I'm willing. You may be at a point where you might say to me, I have so much desperation and despair, I can't even imagine. Well, you can choose one word. You can come up on to another level, just a little bit from desperation. And you can say, well, I can be hopeful. I'm going to do this, if nothing else. As I used in my example, I'm looking at mountains of homes that have been destroyed. What can I do? Instead of feeling despair and doing nothing, go out and pick up a piece of litter. Do something. One little thing. Next day, pick up 2. Lord, show me what I can do. You can slowly come out of that situation if you are feeling despair to a point where you're feeling better and better still. And you can make joy your compass. And I guess if I were to give you a guide and say, here's what my vision board would look like, but I want it to look like yours. But if I were to, I like this one, be closer to the divine. That's certainly a goal I've had all my life. Certainly, the older I get, more and more so. And then I would say I would place on there a compass, and I would say joy. Joy is my compass. And then another block I might say peace of heart and mind. Peace of heart and mind. And so those would be the simple things that I would have on my treasure board, my treasure map, my vision board. It would say that. And a lot is said about the law of attraction, and I'm not going to say anything negative about it, but I wanted to speak about it in a little bit more practical terms this morning, because Jesus said, ask and it is given, right? So we've been told by the one who knows, ask and it is given. But I think that's a little too simple, and sometimes it's taught a little too simply, that I believe that we should ask for something that's good for me, but it's also aligned with the good for all. There can be no other way. Everything that's good for me has to be aligned for the good for all. Even abundance. We can't wish for abundance if we feel like we're going to be selfish with it. We ask for abundance because we are also going to give and we're going to share. Just like a teacher comes into the world to teach. They're sharing, they're using their gifts. Use me, God. Use me. So one of the things I would add to the treasure map and the vision board is that we want to always include, not only is this going to be good for me, but it's going to be good for the world, and that we need to use it for the best and the highest. And then I also included, and you can't read the chart on the one side, but there is a handout that you can take with you if you would like this morning. Just start, if you don't, think about your dreams. Think about your dreams. And then one of the most important things you can do is, how will I feel when this is accomplished? How will I feel when I have this? Because this is actually the magic. This is the energy. This is the love that's going to bring it to you. This is what is bringing it to you, is the energy you are putting out there. How am I going to feel when I have accomplished this? And remind yourself when you do your visioning to feel that way. Remind yourself every day, I want to feel that way every day. And then we know that's not enough. And here's the motivational part of it. And you remember I asked you to see how different it feels, motivation and activity, and how that feels compared to simply visioning. The visioning part feels wonderful, but we actually must, like the lady that wanted a husband, but she wasn't willing to come off the porch. We have got to come off the porch if we want to do something with our lives. We can't stay hidden if we want to do something magical. We have to actually come off the porch. So here's what's going to motivate you. And this actually has a practical piece to it. As you write these steps to accomplish your dream, and you may only think of one step today, what it does is subconsciously it creates a motivation to get that done. And as long as you've committed to that, that's not going to leave you alone until you do it. So there's the practical application of it. And then keep track of your progress that works with the same goal. Keep track of that. Now, many of us may be at a point in life we feel like we've already accomplished everything we wanted to. Maybe we don't have enough tractors, but we've actually had a lot of fun in life and we've actually done most things. But I never get to a place where I don't stop dreaming. I still dream not only of this sanctuary being full again, like it was when we closed last March, full again, but we're having to go find a bigger one. And I guarantee you I dream of that. Don't stop dreaming. Don't stop believing. Believe in yourself. You can achieve whatever it is you are led to achieve. Happy 4th of July. Thank you for being here.